Am I the a-hole for telling my mother that it was her decision to have kids? I, 28 female, have never had a good relationship with my mother. She and my dad married young and had 4 kids. Me, 2 sisters, 27 female and 24 female, and my brother, 20. My parents' marriage was highly toxic, and they divorced when I was 17 because my mother had an affair with her now second husband. Mother and hubby number 2 have 1 child together, female 10. Ever since we were kids, my siblings and I have been subjected to my mother's mantra of, I gave you life, so you should be freaking grateful. From the time we were young, my mother would use the above phrase to gain anything. From our sweets, our birthday money, to taking a percentage of payslips when we joined 6th form, ages 16 to 18 education in the UK. My siblings and I have been fortunate enough that our paternal grandparents are well off, and they paid for our university fees, minus my brother who chose not to attend university. However, our grandparents are in declining health and have decided to give us grandchildren our inheritance early so they can watch us enjoy it, and not have this trust to put on my dad to sort out our portion when their time comes. My brother decided to buy a car with his and save the rest to travel. My 2 sisters are spending it on their growing families, while I decided to use my portion for a mortgage deposit, and I'm weeks away from buying my first home. My mother is enraged at our choices. When she found out that her ex-in-laws had given us all money, she yelled at how it was unfair that our younger half-sister missed out, and how we have a rule that she gets a percentage of our inheritance, because I gave them life and they need to learn to be freaking grateful. And then extended it saying how we never appreciated her sacrifices for us, how we butchered her body, drained her mental state, and caused her divorce because our dad was too focused on us rather than paying attention to her, which caused her to cheat. I snapped at my mother and told her to shut the heck up. I told her that we didn't ask for her to bring us into this world because she chose to have kids, and if I had a chance to change who my biological mother was, I would, because she's always been a crappy one. Now she's telling the family that I don't appreciate her struggles with parenting, and I've upset her so badly that she's unable to focus on areas of her life that need her. For example, my half-sister, her job as a nurse, etc. My sibling sided with me, but our half-sister has sent me texts saying I need to say sorry for being mean. My stepdad, not a word I want to use, has called me an a-hole for speaking to my mother harshly. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your mom is toxic, and she likely royally ruined her youngest daughter by making her believe she's a victim of your grandparents' generosity. Right? Your mom told your 10-year-old half-sister a skewed version of what happened and stirred up drama. Your mom may have even sent the text from your sister calling you mean. She is a monster, not an a-hole. I don't understand her mentality. You children must give me all your money because I choose to have you? And a bit about a half-sister makes even less sense. My daughter missed out on money from people she has no biological or familial relation with. Mom's a narcissist. Everything's always about her and only her. Normal person logic is just irrelevant here. Your mom's affair partner needs to sit down and shut up. Your half-sister is not related to your grandparents. She deserves nothing. Your mother is way off base here. Your mom cheated on their son. Your paternal grandparents are probably not her biggest fans. Your mom can go pound sand, not stay home. Opie's mom needs to keep both her mouth and legs shut. She decided to give birth. She decided to cheat. Nobody owes their parents for giving them life. We are usually grateful for what they do for us during our lives, and she obviously has not done much. You owe her nothing, Opie. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You're absolutely correct. She gave life to you. That's correct. But that doesn't mean you are her slaves. She failed you as a parent, didn't provide for you, didn't show you any love or support. She's a vampire. Get some garlic and keep her away from your life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents why I hate my name? Okay, so basically I, female 16, have 3 older siblings, John, Julia, and Jess. John and Julia are twins and Jess was about 3 years younger than them. Jess had a lot of medical issues as a kid according to my parents. She was born too early and had a lot of breathing issues, etc. And 2 months before I was born, when Jess was 4 and the twins were 7, Jess died. I was never told exactly how, but I knew it had something to do with her medical issues. My parents were distraught and when I was born I was named Jess, after my older deceased sister. See, the issue was that being directly named after the dad-daughter starts up problems. My older siblings refuse to call me by my name. They call me by my middle name or just don't refer to me at all. And as a kid, I always wanted to be friends with them. But they're a good 7 years older and have apparently already bonded enough with the original Jess that they don't really want to interact with me. My parents are even weirder. They put photos of original Jess on my birthday and look like they're about to cry whenever they say my name. They constantly bring up Jess. If I get a bad grade, they'll go on about how Jess would have done so much better. Or if I said I was feeling sick, they told me that I couldn't be as sick as Jess was and to stop faking it for attention. Don't even get me started on my parents' friends because they just keep giving me weird looks. I can't live out the shadow of original Jess, which sounds horrible but honestly it's true. A few days ago, my mom got a letter from my old school where they used the nickname Anna, my middle name, and my mother blew up on me. She called me ungrateful and said I was ruining my sister's image and good name and destroying her soul or something. And I blew up on her too, explaining why I hated using the name Jess and how it was stupid naming me that, and how I can't keep living in the shadow of a kid who died nearly 17 years ago. Harsh, I know, but I was so angry. My mom, dad, family, friends, and even my own friends are telling me that I'm the a-hole here, that I shouldn't have gone off on her, but my siblings are saying that I said what needed to be said. And to be honest, I like having their approval. So am I the a-hole for telling my mom why I hate my name? Edit. Reading the comments, I do have to note that I love my parents. They've been great parents except for the name thing. I don't really want to go no contact because they really are great parents. Like them moving across the country for me because I found a performing arts school. But honestly, I understand my siblings as kids not wanting anything to do with me. If I was in their position, I wouldn't want to either. And also, all the names are fake. My name isn't actually Jess, but I do appreciate all the J-name jokes. Not the a-hole. Not even a little bit. Honestly, I think it's super twisted that they named you after her. They robbed you of your own identity because they hadn't processed their grief. My thoughts exactly. The parents are awful for doing that. Right. Opie's definitely not the a-hole. In fact, this whole story reads like the beginning of good creepypasta or no sleep. I hope that they can find some peace and that Opie continues to use her own unique middle name. Also, good on her siblings for standing behind her on this issue. Not the a-hole. Why would anyone name their youngest kid after older late sibling? And what image does your late sister have? She died at 4. Your parents are projecting unhealthily and robbing you of your own identity. As a mother who has lost a child, I can understand using the child's name as a middle name for a new baby, the way we honor other relatives including those who have died. A first name? No one should have expected Opie to go by that name. Next story. Am I the a-hole for cutting off support to my daughter? I, 52 male, have 3 children with my ex Tracy, 50 female. Michael, 28 male, Linda, 25 female, and Victoria, 23 female. We split because Tracy had an affair with Stan, 55 male, to whom she is now married. We never shared with the kids the reason for the divorce as I didn't want them to blame either of us. This backfired, as the kids saw their mom move out of the house into a small apartment and me keep living in the house and remarried 2 years after the divorce. So they saw me as the bad guy. Stan and Tracy let them pretty much do whatever they wanted. And I had to be the disciplinarian who made sure homework was done, appointments were made, and deadlines were met. My 2 oldest eventually came to realize that I was not a bad guy. My son, when he found out that his mother had put nothing away for college for him as outlined in our divorce decree, and she told him to take out loans. While my daughter, when she realized that her grades were going to keep her out of her desired program in school. My youngest never came around though, so it was a surprise when her boyfriend asked for my blessing to ask for her hand. When I expressed that I didn't think she'd care about my blessing, he said she insisted on it. She began spending time with me, being polite to my wife, and it felt wonderful to have my daughter back. I went with them to book the venue and they'll be getting married next summer. I paid a deposit and a first installment. Then I noticed that she was becoming less communicative again recently, ignoring my texts or giving one-word replies and not coming over as much. On Monday, my son sent me a post from Instagram. My youngest had an engagement party this weekend to which I was not invited. One of the photos was her with Stan and it read, "Anyone can be a father, but it takes a real man to be a dad." This amazing guy has been my dad for 15 years, even though he didn't have to be. I am so blessed to have him walk me down the aisle next year. Hashtag daddy's girl, hashtag future Mrs. X. My kids wanted for nothing their entire lives because I never let them go without. Even when they wouldn't talk to me, I made sure their needs were met. I texted Tracy to ask why I was not included, and she replied that Victoria didn't want my wife there because she wanted a drama-free day. My wife has literally never started drama in her life. I asked if Stan and I would both be walking her down the aisle. Tracy didn't respond, but Victoria called me up demanding to know what my problem was. I repeated my question, and she replied that no, Stan, her dad, would be walking her down the aisle. I told her that if that's what she wanted, I would be fine with it. I told her to let Stan know the next payment for the wedding is due in November. Stan and Tracy do not have the money for this wedding, and I think I'm being an a-hole. Linda says if I do this, Victoria will never speak to me again. Michael is on my side. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If you aren't her dad in her eyes, then why would you pay for the wedding? And here is a novel idea. The bride and groom can pay for the wedding instead of the parents. I'm recently engaged and wouldn't dream of asking my parents for help paying for the wedding. Yeah, I was married last year and we had a wedding we could afford. I don't know why my parents would need to pay for my event. Not the a-hole. Maybe it's time you told your kids the real reason behind the divorce. Right? They're grown now. Time to rip off the band-aid. And to hell Stan/mom. What a sack of moldy douches they make. Not the a-hole. This. Don't hide things from your kids when you divorce. As a kid whose parents did this, it leads to nothing but badness. Be honest with them. But also, as others have said, she absolutely used you for the money, which is frankly disgusting. Get your deposit money back and let them pay for it themselves. I don't understand why it seems so many parents don't tell their children the reasons why. I left my ex when my daughter was 3. He's an alcoholic. It was very easy to say, Daddy is sick and was not nice to Mommy, but we still love you very much. She still knows the reason. She still loves both of us. You don't have to alienate a parent to be honest with your children. Full disclosure, I'm not Michael, but I'm on your side too, OP. The truth about your divorce was ugly and unflattering to Tracy, so you apparently agreed to hide it forever. OP, not just till the kids were grown, but forever. That decision has bitten you in the butt and cost you your relationship with at least one of your adult kids. Please, sit down with Linda and Michael and tell them the truth about the divorce. Show them the bratty IG posting from Victoria and say, you know, I love all of you, but everyone has limits. I feel used and disrespected and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. If Victoria wants to talk to me about this directly, fine, but I'm not willing to bankroll an event where I'm cast as an unwelcome stranger. Not the a-hole for keeping your money in your wallet and finding something else to do on the wedding day. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my parents why my wedding gift was significantly smaller than my sister's? My husband and I, 28 male, 28 female, got married recently and my sister, 31 female, and I were discussing the wedding after returning from the honeymoon. We are very fortunate to have grown up in a household where my parents made very good money. They were generous with us, but raised my sister and I to be hardworking and not dependent on them as adults. My sister and I both do well financially, as does her husband, 36 male. My husband loves his job, but it is not one that has a ton of earning potential. He and I met in college, so I've always known this was his plan, and we are very happy with our setup. During my discussion with my sister, she asked me if my husband and I were planning to use the wedding gift money from my parents to do a particular renovation for which we've been saving, but I was very confused, because the gift, while extremely generous and appreciated, wasn't nearly enough to cover that. She told me how much she had been gifted, and it was more than twice what we had been given. After that, I couldn't stop thinking about why I had gotten less, so my sister encouraged me to ask, and during a call with my mom, I couldn't stop myself from asking. Her response was that it wasn't my business, but since I did ask, my sister has chosen a partner that can accommodate the lifestyle she's used to, so they've gifted her accordingly. They also gifted me accordingly to the lifestyle I've chosen. We are not entitled to gifts of any size in life, but I still can't help feeling hurt that my parents feel that my husband and I are less deserving than my sister and her husband based on income. Meanwhile, my parents are angry at both my sister and me for having this discussion and bringing it to them. Not the a-hole. There's a lot of reasons that would have made sense and been okay, including a simple, we're not in the same financial situation we were in when we gave your sister her wedding gift. But to make it about how much you guys make is basically a passive-aggressive way of saying, you got less because you picked a partner we feel is beneath you. Amen. Wait for the shocked Pikachu face when Opie goes no contact and then have kids. It will be cruel to not let Grammy and Grampy see their cheer-ups. Not today, Hall, and I don't understand your parents' reasoning. Seems like they just want to punish you for choosing a spouse that makes less money than they would have preferred. Honestly, if your sister's husband is so well off, why would you need additional money as a gift? That was my first thought and response. I've seen this firsthand in my extended family. Some members are very well off, and for some reason, money attracts money. If you are rich, people seem to give money to you since you are seen as good with money and more deserving. And those that don't do as well seem to be given far less. It's bizarre, but in some ways it makes sense, since those who are good with money will likely grow it, and those who aren't are more likely to blow through it more quickly. That said, it should be considered those who have plenty of money don't need more gifted to them, and those who are struggling should be given a little help from time to time, unless they are wasting it on drugs or gambling, etc. What's weird logic? Your brother-in-law makes more so we gift them more? Your husband makes less so we gift you less? Sounds backwards. Also sounds like they're punishing you for choosing who you married. That was my thought. My family makes less money than my sisters. My parents are always giving me things they aren't giving her. We also have kids and they don't. But my sister nor her husband couldn't care less who gets what.